welcome to a new chapter in Orphan Grain Train's history. And before we get started tonight, I want to bring up all the staff that we have with Orphan Grain Train. And so if all of you guys can come forward, our stage isn't big enough. So ladies and gentlemen, the staff of Orphan Grain Train, if they could come up here. And along with this afternoon's message, we have the goats to my left and the sheep to my right here. So, no, this is, I hope you've had a chance to meet some of them or all of them if you can. If not, take your time tomorrow. They'll be a little busy as well, but they do a tremendous service continually for us, and they're a big reason why this is here today too. So I just wanted to bring them forward and have you recognize them and give them their due. So thank you very much, and thank you for our staff. Okay. Before we get started with some presentations by special people, we want to start off this evening with a short little video that's actually a time lapse of our construction process. It doesn't really start right at the break of the ground. It starts about October of 2023 and brings us pretty much up to date to where we're at now. So if you just sit back and hopefully got a view of the screen and enjoy our little time lapse here. So go ahead, guys. Here we have it. Here we are. We had a couple cold days, if you saw that. If you've seen there in Audi Construction, still put their effort through there on there. But yeah, quite an experience, and we're so thankful for today. A big thanks that we have are the people that we want to have a chance to say something today and recognize. And the first one is the mayor of Norfolk, who has a special relationship with Orphan Grain Train because of a special relationship that he has with Pastor Wilkie as well. And so we please help us welcome Mayor Josh Moning.
Thank you. Good evening. How about that jambalaya? It's pretty good. I've been to New Orleans a few times, so I don't consider myself an expert, but that's pretty good. I mean, that was a real thing. Thank you for having me here tonight. Very exciting day for Orphan Grain Train. Very exciting day for Norfolk, which is very proud to be home to the international headquarters of this wonderful organization. I first met Reverend Ray Wilkie as a child. My dad was a large animal veterinarian, and so I remember semi-regularly going out to the Wilkie dairy place and seeing this towering figure among the Holstein cows there. What I didn't know then, but have come to learn now, as a follower of Orphan Grain Train and as a member of Grace Lutheran Church here in Norfolk, Reverend Wilkie has a towering presence through his work with Orphan Grain Train and all the work that you help contribute to it in the world of helping people across this big white earth. And it's pretty remarkable. It really was hit home for me when I had the experience to go to Africa a few years ago and was in the country of Malawi. And we set up a sister city relationship with the city of Blantyre in Malawi. And we have some natural connections. Dr. Matika, who has established a school there, has graduates of that school coming to Norfolk, to Northeast Community College. One of those students, her father visited a few years ago, and while he was in town, came to see me in the mayor's office and explained to me that his country, his work as a pastor in southern Malawi was burdened by the drought and the famine that they were experiencing there over recent years. And they were in a rough spot, in a really tough place. And I said, well, if you've got some time, let's go over to Orphan Grain Train. And Pastor Wilkie Grant made time, and we sat down for at least an hour and worked out some details. And surely enough, in a few weeks' time, there was containers of all kinds of materials, supplies, food, clothing, educational materials that arrived there to help out that region of the world. And it continues today. Every time another Orphan Grain Train container is delivered there, I get pictures from Bishop Harvey expressing his gratitude. And to me, it's amazing that we can make those kinds of connections right here in the middle of the country to a world away, helping people. And it really, to me, personifies what President Snow was talking about earlier, the central gospel message of loving thy neighbor as thyself. And Orphan Grain Train's presence in Norfolk helps build a local culture where people, I hope, want to love their neighbor as themselves and help their neighbors when help is needed. So I'm very glad for this day. Watched the construction, had a front row seat. A lot of moving parts. It seemed once construction started, it was a very smooth operation. In fact, I might have to ask you guys for some references for road construction projects, maybe. But it was a delight to see this evolve and develop, and what is built here today will continue to help Orphan Grain Train grow for years to come. And for what that means for Norfolk, we are very proud to be home to one of our country's largest, most efficient, most effective human relief organizations. So thank you very much. Orphan Grain Train, we're glad to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for those words. When we got started, we had to choose an architectural team, and took a lot of time with that, and we chose Davis Design. And so today we have two gentlemen, one that started with us right from the beginning and one that took us through the end. And so I'd like to bring those two guys from Davis Design, Doug Burkink and Kevin Riley, up here. Thank you. Rick.
boy, I don't know if I should go first or second, because whatever Kevin says, I may have to defend myself. So we're with Davis Design. Norfolk has been, the Northeast Nebraska has been very good for our company, and we're confident that we've been very good for the region. We're thankful, and we've been blessed with the relationships that we have, and a lot of them are with you here in the room. We've been around for over 100 years, done a lot of iconic projects, and we couldn't do it without the networking that we have. So thank you on behalf of Davis Design. Part of my job with construction administration is we have monthly meetings. So we had Grant Schmid, Doug Trampy, Larry Zimmerman, Brent Coomer, and Bill Begman. We would meet in my office every month, and there's a lot of details. There's so many things that come together to bring this to fruition, and they have been awesome to work with. I value that relationship that we have. Also, thank you to Audi Construction for a safe and successful project. If you look close, there's a few things we need to finish up, but they've been a joy to work with. Also, thank you to the many subcontractors. They're masters of their trade. And I'd like to thank my team. Also, obviously, Kevin's standing here with me, but Mike, Dana, Greg, Darren, there are a lot of people behind the scenes that give us the professional design that we have today. So obviously, you're used to God moments. I've got a quick little story, and then hopefully Kevin will be nice to me if he has something to say. My mom's sitting out here. So another God moment, a little personal story for us is when Kevin was an infant, I was an infant. Our moms and dads were best friends. My dad and his dad coached basketball at Norfolk Senior High together. So that was started in 1960. So Kevin and I, we actually played together and probably fought over toys and fought with our brothers and sisters. And then they relocated to Omaha, and then they moved on to Lincoln. So we didn't really stay in touch. But one of those God moments, I was in a position to make a career change, started talking to Davis Design, and little did I know Kevin was there. So just like when you play with your toys, we get them all out, Kevin wouldn't finish his project. So Kevin started this project with all the master planning, and he did a great job. But now it's my job, just like picking up the toys at the end of the day. I need to get this job done, bring it to fruition. And I haven't been mean to you, so be nice to me if you guys like to say a little bit.
I don't even know where to go after that, but as Doug said, his mom is in the audience, so she kept him in line because she'll correct him if he said anything incorrect. But, the purpose we're here tonight is to celebrate what we've been able to accomplish. And Grant and I were talking earlier this evening, trying to really identify when we started this process, and we think it was somewhere in 2017. And there was a number of iterations and a lot of meetings, and then we settled in on COVID and kind of had to step back and just really readdress everything. But the team we worked with at Orphan Grain Train was awesome. And actually, to give a little history, I was involved with Pastor Wilkie when Grace Lutheran did their expansion, and I got to do that one from start to finish. I didn't pawn it off on Doug. I actually did most of the master planning on that, and I master planned it and then did the construction documents and then all the construction administration. And so Davis, we really appreciate the opportunities we've been given in Norfolk. We've worked very closely with the Lutherans, and you've welcomed me despite the fact that I'm a Catholic. And at the time I was doing Great Lutheran, my son is a Roman Catholic priest, and he was going to seminary. So Pastor Asbury and Pastor Wilkie and I had a number of conversations, but we're still friends. So again, on behalf of Davis Design, thank you very much. This is just awesome to see one of Pastor Wilkie's visions come to fruition, to where he wanted to be able to have his biannual meeting under his roof and not a rented roof. And here we are today. We're under one roof that is owned by Orphan Grain Train and not a rental facility. So congratulate yourselves on that. That's monumental. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. They mentioned basketball and playing. Boy, that sport's really overrated. Okay. We chose a construction team, and we have their head guy with us today, and we're so proud and pleased to have him from Audi Construction, Keith Moji. Keith, if you come forward. Everyone.
Thank you, Grant, Pastor Wilkie. It's been a privilege and a pleasure to be able to put this facility together, take Davis design and put it all together and master it. And it's a very nice facility, in my opinion. But those nice things don't all get put together by one person. And so the credit that Audi Construction likes to give out is credit to all of our fabulous subcontractors and our vendors and our own employees that have put all of this together for us. We do a fair amount. We do some of the finishes ourselves and items like that, but we try to keep everything on target and on task and on schedule and keep it under budget or at budget level. And we've done a pretty good job with that, and we're very pleased about that. But ultimately, all of those things that Audi Construction does is a gift from God, and that's the way I go about life every day, of all the blessings that He has given us at Audi Construction and my family, and all of the fabulous subs that He puts in front of us to work with and be able to talk about different things. We approach our projects as a team. It's not an individual. Subcontractors get taught to, we teach them or we tell them this is kind of what we expect. We expect perfection, and we try and achieve that goal, which is an impossible goal to reach. But by doing that and setting the standard or the bar at that level, we do a pretty good job. So again, I want to say thank you to Orphan Grain Train and their fabulous staff. We got to know Brent, we got to know Paul, we've worked with Bill, Grant, and then also the superintendent that ran this project from almost day one, Christopher, who's standing in the back there. He has done a marvelous job and has been able to keep everybody on task, including me and my wife, who is also back there. And I want to say thank you to both of you for putting up with me at different times because of different things going on. So again, thank you all. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, what a blessing to have Audi, and again, Chris is back there hiding, but he shouldn't hide. We are so pleased with Chris, with what you've done and the leadership that you've shown by your actions, not only to us, but to your team that you led. So a young man, but with an incredible talent, gift, and a great future. So thank you, Chris, for what you've done. Our next person is from Thrivent Financial, and especially time I've been here, as well as so much, we're just humbled by what Thrivent continues to do for our members, to inspire gifting here, and it's my pleasure to be able to have someone talk about that. She asked me to be on a board about 8 years ago, and I've been thrilled and lucky enough to do that. And she's the manager of engagement in the Midwest Rockies region. I'd like you to welcome Julie Ferry from Thrivent.
Wow, can you see me? My goodness, you're tall, everybody. Okay, well, can you hear me? That's more important. How about now? Is that better? Okay. All right, so thanks everyone. I am Julie Ferry, the manager of engagement. I'm joined today by members of our Thrivent staff, Nancy, Lacey, Matt, and Michael. And we do have a booth tomorrow, so if we don't get a chance to greet you tonight, please check in with us tomorrow. I'm also here on behalf of our nearly 2 million Thrivent members. And I know some of you are in this room. I've seen t-shirts, so give me a wave if you are a member of Thrivent. Give me a little wave, all right. If you're not yet a member of Thrivent and want to know more, again, please visit us tomorrow. But we're really excited on behalf of all of our members to celebrate the dedication of the new Servant Center. For over 120 years, Thrivent has been helping people build financial futures and lead more generous lives. Our purpose is to empower lives of service and faith, and we have an amazing partner in mission with the members and supporters of Orphan Grain Train. Grant wanted me to particularly highlight one of our Thrivent programs that really focuses on service, our Thrivent Action Teams. This is where service and faith come together through the work of all of God's people. This year, you may not know, but we are celebrating 10 years of Thrivent Action Teams. And so I have some stats, I have notes because I wanted to get this right. So Grant wanted me to highlight this. In the past 10 years, with Orphan Grain Train, our members have led 3,754 action teams, mobilizing 43,766 people as volunteers, accounting for 392,000 plus hours of volunteer service, and raising over $1 million in additional funds through just that program of action teams. So, thanks, yes, congratulations. So if you're a data person and if you're not, let's do the math on that. Over 10 years, that's an average of 1 action team per day, every day for 10 years. And in 2023 alone, members led 727 action teams, which is just shy of 2 action teams per day, every day. So let's celebrate the service of God's people. So in closing, the Servant Center will be a blessing to God's people in service to one another, both in this community and throughout the world. So again, congratulations, Orphan Grain Train, and we're proud to be a partner with you in service through the years to come.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Thrivent. Our next individual is a member of our board, has been for several years, and as Kevin talked from Davis right from the beginning, way back when we first started with building a warehouse out in Maryland, this gentleman was a blessing as he was key in leading them in the construction in the process of that facility. And now when it came to our turn, I think right from the beginning, we were walking, Ralph, myself, and Larry were walking from parking lot into Davis facilities in downtown Lincoln, and here we are today. So a member of our board, really helpful in this process. I'd like to introduce Mr. Larry Zimmerman from Maryland, which is not close to Nebraska. So welcome, Larry Zimmerman.
Well, thank you very, very much. What a great facility. You're here, but I really want you to come back too in a couple weeks when this is in operation. You can see what's happening in here. This facility, when it's complete, will double the output from this warehouse. So projects like this are often inspired. Sometimes with Orphan Grain Train, they're inspired by Pastor Wilkie. And often, and this one was also inspired by Doug Trampy. This was Doug's dream. I'm sure he influenced Pastor Wilkie in his inspiration. Now, when Pastor Wilkie has an inspiration, what does he do? Well, he first turns to his right and he says, Grant Schmidt, we need to do this. Can you make this happen? And then he turns to his left and to Ralph Schmidt, and he says, Ralph, we need to pay for this. Can you go out and find the resources for it? So that's how this originally started. I wanted to go back to what Kevin talked about with the planning for this, because these people came, they went through the warehouse, saw everything was operated. Our staff was terrific in showing them how they do what we do at Orphan Grain Trade. Shipping to 71 countries now, 71 countries. But this building is also not just the ship. This is actually the international headquarters. This is where 29 branches of Orphan Grain Train are looking to come to. They're looking to come here for training. They're looking to come up here to see how the father group does their thing. Kevin Davis Design did an excellent job of listening. They listened to exactly what we needed. They listened to what we were looking at for 30 years in the future, because this building will last longer than that. So the mayor was going through actually a citywide plan as well. Well, you know, we're the end of his plan. And so don't forget us, and that's part of the reason for the outside look of the building itself. We're the anchor on this side of that full plan. And we anchored very well. It's a very presentable building. I really like to thank Kevin for his master planning, because there wasn't one iteration, there were 6 or 7. You know, things got flopped around until we got the most efficient. A building is designed to enable what's inside of it. And so this will be terrific. It'll be so much easier to operate in the long term. We also were fortunate to have a brilliant woman who took over from Kevin and finished the design. Her name was Dana Hawk, and she did a marvelous job. So thank you again. On behalf of our board, we thank Davis Design. And then we were into construction. So we're fortunate that Audi Construction did perform the work. I was here one day. You know, we started this project. We removed 2 buildings that had hazardous waste. We had telephone power lines everywhere. We had 6 different properties that we bought. It was a nightmare. It was like unrolling a hairball, but we did it. And we did it with the help of your city staff, who was very helpful, through Olson Construction, and through Kevin and his staff as well. So we thank for that. So I was here one day, and at the beginning of construction, and I saw Keith. We hit another building. We didn't know it was there. And so Keith's there with a shovel, as president of the company. You know, when you hit something like that, it's expensive because it's unforeseen. He's down in there in the trench, actually making sure it gets done fast. So I knew we were in good stead, because when the president of the company's down in the ditch with you, the project's going to go well. And we also thank Chris. Chris also is an excellent listener too, but he's also a doer. I mean, he listens. He doesn't say too much, but boy, he gets things done. So, and Chris is probably going to, when he gets my age, is going to probably talk about tales about the job that he did for Orphan Train, I'm sure. So we again thank Audi Construction for the work that they did. Tate Nelson was also involved with it. And we thank the staff here for Doug Trampy. I'm not sure where you are, Doug, but your dream came true, my friend. So I was with dinner last night with Doug, and Doug says to me, "What do you think of the building?" I said, "Well, I mean, you're the one that's the user. What do you think?" He said, "I think we did pretty well." So, Doug, we're very glad that your dream came through. And we thank during some of these progress meetings we had, Doug was a little anxious at times. He said, "We got to get this moving. We got to get this moving." So we thank, and we also thank Ralph and his staff who raised funds. We've very close to raising funds to pay for the whole thing. So that's pretty phenomenal when you think about it, that people have been so gracious in doing it. And the people, the volunteers that come in here have been, it's just phenomenal what's done here. Now you have an even better facility. You can actually, when we do mercy meals, we have a new place, but you can transform the building here for a mass mercy meal effort. You can have people come in from churches in big groups, and you can accommodate all of it. So there's a lot to be thankful for. We have a lot to look forward to in the future. God has done a marvelous work and has been with us all the way through. And so if I've missed anybody in thanking them, please know that we appreciate everything that was done. It was really quite a team effort. And you know, there's no I in team. It's all the team working together. And we're fortunate enough to have that. Thank you so much.
Stealing my script, I tell you, there's a lot of good stuff in here. I don't want anybody else to have it. Thank you, Larry. This is wonderful. As he mentioned, he gave a nice introduction. I don't have to say much more, but Doug Trampy is sitting over to my left, to your right, and we are going to recognize him, and we do want him to say he's going to stay seated for this, but Larry gave some nice words with that, and it really goes without saying just how much we respect and we love Doug. The one thing about the warehouse, we can celebrate this right now, but the OGT warehouse is what it is today because of the relationships that Doug Trampy formed inside that building. And the mission of that itself, besides just working and sending goods to people, was invaluable. And so Doug was an incredible witness in that way. And I know that we had volunteers coming just to rub shoulders with him and what that meant. And so we thank Doug and want to recognize him. And I asked him with the mic right there to share a few words because we're just so thankful for all the years that he put into this. So to my left over here, Doug Trampy.
Come back here, Mom. Well, thank you. The night my wife, my first wife right here, she's come up, her name is Shirley. You know, the problem we have with Shirley is that, you know, I was failing in German class, and I needed notes, and she wouldn't give them to me, and so I had to marry her. And Pastor Wilkie, if you're here, you know, the problem we had, Reagan went to the Gorbachev and went to Russia and tear down the wall. Now, if he hadn't torn down the wall and he told Pastor, don't go to Russia, we would not be here. So we've had a great ride. It was wonderful to be part of Orphan Grain Train. And I fell about 3 months ago, and I'm on auction right now, but I'll get better. The Lord will provide. I want to recognize the managers we've had in the past. We've had Bob Fetter sitting over there, Needy. We've had Dale Pimp. We've had a lot of good people that came forward. The volunteers, I can't believe the wonderful volunteers we have. We built a nice group of volunteers. I want to talk about Ingrid Granith, Alberta Hauser. We have Artis and Mel Warnicki, just a few of the past ones. And the last one we lost was Verona Wantok. She's a wonderful lady. So we've had fun doing all this stuff, and we've had a wonderful opportunity. And we've built this thing, and it's all to God's glory. The most important thing with the volunteers that I'd like to share is how we could witness about Jesus. We had a lot of people came in, and they wanted a walker. They wanted a hospital bed. And we were able to provide that. And I would say they'd ask me, why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this because of Jesus' love. And then we share that love, and it was great. And that's what the Orphan Grain is about, sharing our love of Jesus' love. Anything else? If anybody's got any questions about, I can tell you a lot of stories. You know, Grant had to try to fire me. Clayton tried to fire me. Pastor gave me a pink slip. So I'm still here. Shirley and I volunteered with Fish Spoils, and I think we volunteered 20 years, and I've been here 19 years. What a wonderful ride. God bless you all. Thank you.
Most everything he said was true. Thank you, Doug. You're a special man. Final speaker or person we want to bring up here, we're really privileged to have. He will be our keynote speaker tomorrow as well. And most of us Lutherans know who this gentleman is. We're very fortunate that he is going to take the time to share a few words for us and also introduce Pastor. But he's a friend of OGT. He's a pillar in the Lutheran Church. He's a former Lutheran Hour speaker, as well as the president of the Concordia Seminary. We're fortunate to have him with us, Dr. Reverend Dale Meyer. Come forward.
There will be a judgment grant about telling the truth. Man, everything has been said, but not everyone has said it. Congratulations to Orphan Grain Train. What a great day. Congratulations to Pastor Wilkie and the staff. Awesome. And congratulations to all of you, the supporters and volunteers of this amazing, amazing mission, the kind of mission that the church needs to do in the 21st century. One of the things that I remember from Dr. Oswald Hoffman was that the church needs to exude joy and confidence in the gospel. Orphan Grain Train is doing that. So thank you very much, and congratulations to you all on this great day. If these walls could talk, you've heard that expression. And usually it's about an older building that would rehearse history. If these walls could talk, they would be talking about anticipation for all the volunteers who are going to be here in service to our Lord Jesus and his mission. If these walls could talk, they would say that the promises of God are being fulfilled here. It's a matter of faith that we often don't know what God is doing, but there are times when we see God's promises being fulfilled. And he said, "Cast all your care upon me, and I will care for you." And that promise is fulfilled by what Orphan Grain Train does within these walls. And if these walls could talk, they would talk about hope. The hope that one day there will be no injustice, no sin, no evil in this world, but all will be as God intended it to be in his good creation and as he has redeemed it to be through Jesus and the promise of Jesus coming on the last day. If these walls could talk, they would say, it is a great time to be the church. And don't let anybody ever tell you anything different. This is Jesus' church, and it's a great time to be in Jesus' church. Now, Grant asked if I would introduce Ray Wilkie. And I'm glad to do that, and I'll do it briefly. You can say a lot about Ray, and all of you who may know him better than I do can say a lot. But what I appreciate, he's a blue-collar guy, okay? He's just a normal mensch. I called him earlier this week to talk about coming up here and what I would say, and he asked, how's your milk truck doing? So 2 years ago, I had my milk truck up here. It wasn't my idea, but Ray said, we're going to get your milk truck up here to Orphan Grain Train Convention. So how are you going to do? We're going to do that. And he made it happen. So he says, how's your milk truck doing? I said, well, it's not running. The starter is broke. I got a whole lecture on the history of starters. And if you take a starter apart, he said, this is what you'll find. Okay. He's a blue-collar guy. And aren't we all, or shouldn't we all, be blue-collar guys? And he's a blue-collar guy who is a model of faith. I don't know how it is for you, but when I think back over my years, I learned a lot of stuff in the seminary. I've read a lot of books. But that wasn't what shaped me. It was people who shaped me. Parents, pastors, Lutheran school teachers, lay people. They're the ones who shaped, molded, formed me to whatever I am by the grace of God today. And Ray Wilkie is one of God's saints who has been shaping, molding, giving us an example of what it means to be a Christian in mission in the 21st century. So I appreciate, and I know you do too, this blue-collar guy who models what Christian faith is all about. And with that, I introduce to you Reverend Ray Wilkie.
Hope you're happy, Doug. Brought tears to my eyes. Bugger. Hope you're happy, Dale. Where'd you go? Dale used to be the speaker of the Lutheran Hour, and he was there at Lutheran Layman's League before I even knew anything about what Lutheran Layman's League did. There's a text in 2 Corinthians that talks about Paul in Macedonia needing a letter of introduction to the people of Corinth. You know the text? Make your head go like this if you do or if you don't. He writes in 2 Corinthians 3, must I again need a letter of introduction in order to be allowed to welcome into your community? And he points out the ridiculousness of that premise. But when this idea first began to hatch in the back of my brain in the turmoil of Russia, I had no idea what to do. But a lot of years have gone by, 32, I think. But I needed a letter of introduction to meet somebody who could make this more than just an idea in the back of my head. And I got a hold of Walt Winters, who I was in the Philippines with. and he knew Larry Lumpy. Do you know Larry Lumpy? He was your boss. And I didn't know Larry Lumpy. So I needed a letter of introduction to get to see Larry Lumpy because Dale Pent said to me, I was at a Lutheran Layman's League event in Grand Island, and he told me to go there. I was trying to figure out how to allow this thing to unfold. I went to Grand Island, talked a little bit, and Grand Island said, go to St. Louis. And I got a letter of introduction to Larry Lumpy. And I love Larry Lumpy. He's gone to glory now, and so was his wife. He owned the cemetery in which he's buried, I think, didn't he? Which is a pretty good plan because, you always got a place. But he's not there anyway, just his bones. His spirit is with God, with Christ in glory. But I got a letter of introduction to meet Larry Lumpy. And Larry was like, where have you been? Because Lutheran Layman's League was really good at raising money. You correct me at any point if I'm wrong, okay? Because you were there. You were the speaker of the Lutheran Hour, for crying out loud. You were an heir apparent of Dr. Oswald Hoffman, who said to me one day, he said, this Lutheran Hour thing is a wonderful organization. I was walking along Mountain Trail in Upper Luzon one day, and I kicked a Coke bottle. And I thought, maybe I'm not all alone. And I walked a little further, and I heard Dr. Oswald Hoffman's voice coming over from a little transmitter of a little radio. You know how he talked. You talk a little like him sometimes. And I realized that the Lutheran Hour went all over the world, but one day we were having lunch with Dr. Oswald Hoffman at the Uptown. You remember where that was, Josh? And he said, we're good at getting the word out over the whole world, but we need to get it down in the furrow. And if you don't know how to run a plow, you don't know what a furrow is. But that's down in the ground, in the texture of the earth, where the people walk. And I thought about that, and I got the letter of introduction. I went to see Larry Lumpy, whom I admire and adore, even in his present condition in heaven. And he said, I got a couple ideas. Well, it was a wonderful thing. Let me read to you what Paul was in Macedonia, and he sent back to Corinth. He said, are we beginning to commend ourselves again? Do we need like some letters of introduction to you or from you? You yourselves are our letter written on hearts, known and read by everybody. You show that you're a letter from Christ. Well, that's all I have to say about that. You are our letter of introduction from Christ. And I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
It's been a blessing to be able to rub shoulders with Pastor daily basis in my life, and he's quite a man and quite a godly man. And I always tell him that I remind him frequently that all this is his fault. And he's quite an inspiration, and he doesn't like the limelight. And so I appreciate all the applause you gave him, because this is incredible. I can't believe that he ever thought that we would be at a point this time about 30 years ago when he started this with about $60,000 to do a mission and get food to Russia, to the orphanages. And here we are today, talking about maybe getting $20 million worth of food every year out to the world. So we thank all of you. Doug, who has been so important, so many others we'll thank tomorrow, but really we give thanks for Pastor Wilkie and his vision and his leadership and his calling that have brought all of us together. And without that, none of this would be here. So again, thank you, Pastor. Thank you for what you've done, not only for me, but obviously what you've done for the world and for God's people. So thank you.